ਮੇਰਾ ਮਨ ਧੀਰੇ, ਮੈਂ ਗਰੀਬ ਸੱਚ ਟੇਕ। ਮੇਰਾ ਮਨ ਧੀਰੇ, ਮੈਂ ਗਰੀਬ ਸੱਚ ਟੇਕ। ਤੂੰ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਪੂਰੇ, ਮੈਂ ਗਰੀਬ ਸੱਚ ਟੇਕ। ਤੂੰ ਕੋਇ ਨਾ ਕਿਸ ਹੀ ਸੰਗ ਕਾਹੇ ਗਰਬੀਐ, ਕੋਇ ਨਾ ਕਿਸ ਹੀ ਸੰਗ ਕਾਹੇ ਗਰਬੀਐ। ਏਕ ਨਾਮ ਜਲ ਤਰਬੀਐ, ਏਕ ਨਾਮ ਆਧਾਰ ਪਉਜਲ ਤਰਬੀਐ, ਪਉਜਲ ਤਰਬੀਐ, ਪਉਜਲ ਤਰਬੀਐ। ਸੱਚ ਟੇਕ। ਤੂੰ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਪੂਰੇ, ਮੈਂ ਗਰੀਬ ਸੱਚ ਟੇਕ। ਤੂੰ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਸੱਚ ਟੇਕ। ਤੂੰ ਰਾਜ ਮਾਲ ਜੰਜਾਲ ਕਾਜ ਨ ਕਿਤੈ ਗਨੋ, ਹਰ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਆਧਾਰ ਨਿਹਚਲੇ ਤਨੂ, ਹਰ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਆਧਾਰ ਨਿਹਚਲੇ ਤਨੂ, ਨਿਹਚਲ ਕੇ ਤਨੂ, ਨਿਹਚਲ ਕੇ ਤਨੂ। ਮੈਂ ਗਰੀਬ ਸੱਚ ਟੇਕ। ਮੇਰੇ ਉਹ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਪੂਰੇ, ਮੈਂ ਗਰੀਬ ਸੱਚ ਟੇਕ। ਤੂੰ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਪੂਰੇ, ਸੱਚ ਟੇਕ। ਤੂੰ देख तुम्हारा दर्शनो, देख तुम्हारा दर्शनो, मेरा मन पीरे, मेरा मन पीरे, सच टेक तुम मेरे सतगुर पूरे, मैं गरीब सच टेक तुम।
Universe within universe.
Hello, welcome everyone. Good morning, good evening. I love when cameras open and I see your faces. Today we will begin with a song by Juhi, Beloved Ishwar, There's No One Else Like You. After that, we will continue with a talk by Michael and a talk by Vises. Topic is Anurag Sakar. After that, we will meditate for 5 minutes and we will watch Master's YouTube talk. And then we have group meditation with love and devotion. Thank you all so much. Let's start.
करुणा गावो सागर ईश्वर जी कोई तुम सा कहाँ, करुणा का वो सागर जहाँ। ईश्वर जी कोई तुम सा कहाँ, सीधा सरल सा जीवन जहाँ। गुरुवर कोई तुम सा कहाँ, करुणा का वो सागर जहाँ। ईश्वर जी कोई तुम सा कहाँ, सीधा सरल सा जीवन जहाँ। गुरुवर कोई तुम सा कहाँ, करुणा का वो सागर जहाँ। ईश्वर जी कोई तुम सा कहाँ। कोई हो छोटा कोई बड़ा हो, सबके लिए एक जैसा ही मन। कोई हो छोटा कोई बड़ा हो, सबके लिए एक जैसा ही मन। जो भी है आते इनके शरण में, सबको लुभाते इनके पावन वचन। होता नहीं भेदभाव जहाँ, होता नहीं भेदभाव जहाँ। ईश्वर जी कोई तुम सा कहाँ, सीधा सरल सा जीवन जहाँ। गुरुवर कोई तुम सा कहाँ, करुणा का वो सागर जहाँ। ईश्वर जी कोई तुम सा कहाँ, ममता लुटाते सबको हंसाते, ज्ञान की वाणी सुनाते सदा। ममता लुटाते सबको हंसाते, ज्ञान की वाणी सुनाते सदा। कोई भी मुश्किल कोई भी उलझन, सब दूर होते पल में यहाँ। पावन है सब बंधन जहाँ, पावन है सब बंधन जहाँ। ईश्वर जी कोई तुम सा कहाँ, सीधा सरल सा जीवन जहाँ। गुरुवर कोई तुम सा कहाँ, करुणा का वो सागर जहाँ। ईश्वर जी कोई तुम सा कहाँ, करुणा का वो सागर जहाँ। ईश्वर जी कोई तुम सा कहाँ। गुरुवर तुम्हें मेरा वंदन सदा। ईश्वर जी कोई तुम सा कहाँ, ईश्वर जी कोई तुम सा कहाँ।
Good morning, everyone. So nice to see all of you. Wow, Juhi. Well, just no words to describe how beautiful your shabd and your seva and just showing us Master. And every word is just so true about Master, that he is an ocean of compassion. He is non-judgmental, unconditional love. No one like you, Ishwarji. And really, really, I have never, ever, 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 ever met somebody like Ishwarji. Um, just the most humble, the most beautiful, the richest. God and the kingdom of God just flows out of our Ishwarji. And we are the luckiest people like that met him and got his darshan and became his friends and became so intimate with him and became close to him, and he could touch us, put his hand on our head and joke with us and give us darshan, and we were the family of love, the family of God. Everything was complete and perfect on that human pole called Ishwarji. It was just the outpouring of God and the outpouring of the kingdom of God, just a pull that comes from beyond time and space, a pull that comes from beyond and beyond and beyond, from the highest regions of God and the kingdom of God. That was how Ishwarji was. And I don't mean to put any person down or any masters down or anything like that, but from my personal experience, Ishwarji made me content. He satisfied me 100%. And there were no questions unanswered with Ishwarji. And he was just perfection manifested, perfection manifested in this world. That was the greatest blessing. That was the greatest blessing, that I could come in the proximity of such a God man. By the grace of God, by the grace of the Lord, He has put me close to Ishwarji. And I appreciate every moment, every moment I spent with Ishwarji, that will stay with me for eternity. I will appreciate him for eternity, and he will stay in my heart for eternity, and I will reside in his heart for eternity. This relationship will never be broken. As when he held our hand and he said, I love you, I will be with you forever. It is a definite thing, and it is an absolute thing, and it's an eternal, infinite blessing. Eternal, infinite blessing that came from the source of creation. How lucky we are. And just Juhi's song is just talking about his compassion, that he has no discrimination, that the way he treated everyone, the way he never ever criticized any other master, never ever. He always said everybody has his role. Everybody has his role. I never heard all these things from nowhere else, but he gave it to us. Just unconditional love, unconditional love. He never, he just looked at the soul, and it was a relationship of the soul. It was soul to soul, soul to soul, God to soul. And that is what really satsang is. Satsang, we are the circle of the hearts. Hearts means heart and soul. We meet here in an atmosphere of that brings us together, which is love. Love, and love is heart and soul. Mind is not involved in our gathering. That the gathering of the minds, when two minds gather together, then they have to be maintained. Then there has to be a repetition. There has to be a repetition in order for people who are just intellectual acquaintances or just mental acquaintances. Then when two minds come together, they are different, and the effort has to be put there all the time in order to keep the relationship that is not based on soul, heart, and love. That is the beauty of us, the children of God, that we meet together on the basis of soul to soul, God to soul, and heart to heart. And that is the eternal friendship. Even if there is distance between us, it doesn't matter. Even if we don't see each other for years and years, but once we meet again, that connection is right there. It has never been cut. And it doesn't have to be maintained. It doesn't have to be maintained. That the mind relationship has to be maintained, but the heart and the soul relationship does not have to be maintained. So when we love somebody from the soul, when we love somebody from the soul, that is an eternal love. That goes to the core. That goes to the core of that person. It penetrates through the mind, through the veils of the mind, and love hits that soul, and that eternal friendship is established. And that is our friendship. Our friendship is the friendship of God. Our friendship is the friendship of love. And that love is permanent. Permanence, the permanence of Godhood, the permanence of love, unchangeable permanence. Unchangeable permanence is the relationship of soul to soul and soul to God. That is the beauty of our gathering. That even if people come to satsang once and they are touched by the love of Master who's among us, who is among us, because when we gather, then grace is showered. Grace is showered from the Master. Grace is showered from the Master, and then it touches the souls of everybody who comes here, even if their karma takes them away, their mind takes them away. That seed of love never goes away, and it will bring them back, and we will meet again. We will meet again. So many people, if we have been here over a year and a half or something like that, and so many satsangs every day, every day, every day. Some people come, and then for some reason they go away due to their karma, due to whatever reason. But then the seed of love is never broken. And I get so happy, so happy, so happy that so many of those people who left, and I never see their beautiful names. I used to look, oh, where are they? Where are they? I miss them. I miss them. And then what happens is that I get a message. I get a message. Hi, Michael. You know, and I got few messages lately from people who have been missing, and that is the what I'm talking about. Soul to soul, love, 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 and how love, the relationship of love is never broken, and it is eternal, and it will last forever and ever and ever until we are all of us, the drops of love, will be placed in the ocean of love, in the connection of love, and we will be enjoying there together in the lap of Father God, in the lap of eternity, in the lap of Ishwarji, who is teaching us how to become unconditional. Unconditional love, which is the hardest thing, how to go beyond our judgmental mind, how to go beyond our criticizing mind, how to just see everyone as God, to respect everyone as God, and not to compare people, not to compare masters, just to embrace them all, just to embrace them all. Um, Somebody came to me and he said, you know, I can't come to your satsang because you mix Santakar Singh with Ishwarji. And I just like Ishwarji, even though he was initiated by Santakar Singh. And my answer to him was like, this is what Ishwarji is trying to teach us. He's trying to teach us unconditional love, to love all our teachers. I was like, without Santakar Singh, his grace, you would not have come to Ishwarji. Your inner self, your deepest self, manifested Santakar Singh, and he gave you what you needed at that time. At that time, you have to be very, very, very grateful, because if a student doesn't have the one teacher, he cannot go to the other teacher because he has to get some. So we have so this is how, like, we have to just embrace and love everybody who came in our life, because they came for a reason. They came to teach us something, they came to give us something, or even to take from us something. It's all his will, it is all his moj, it is all his command, and we have to accept everything. We have to just pray to Master to make us like himself, unconditional, to ask for the gift of unconditional love. Love that doesn't discriminate, love with an ocean of compassion. That is what my soul yearns for, But my soul prays and goes on its knees to the oversoul and asks, please, I put my head on the feet of the oversoul, and I have this depth, this deep prayer. Please make me compassionate. Please make me an ocean of compassion. Please take all discrimination away from me, and please make me unconditional love. That is the cry of my soul. I'm sure it's the cry of all of our souls sitting here together. So, my dear sister, she asked me a question this morning about spiritual healing and miracles, about miracles and spiritual healing, and are masters allowed to heal? Are masters allowed to heal? And I am gonna play after I be a parrot of master. um, I will also play. I picked a video that he explained this in detail. So after I explain it in my own way, which is I'm being a parrot of the saints and masters like every day, then I will play Ishwarji, and then he will explain it in detail. But there is a story of Sant Kirpal Singh. Sant Kirpal Singh, he used to go to the hospitals to just comfort the sick, and then when he used to go there, people have starting to see that the patients have starting to get healed, and they went to Baba Sawan Singh and they complained to Baba Sawan Singh, and they told Baba Sawan Singh, hey, look, your disciple Kirpal Singh is healing people. He is healing people. And what was the answer of Baba Sawan Singh? Baba Sawan Singh said, he is healing by radiation. His love is healing. His love is healing. So there is two ways that people do healing. There are people who concentrate on the chakras, on the six lower chakras, and by concentrating on the lower chakras, they get a lot of psychic forces, a lot of psychic powers, and they exert these powers in order to heal people. But let's first define sickness. Sickness is due to some karma. Everybody is suffering something in sickness due to some action that they have done in this life or the past life, and that has to be paid off. That has to be paid off. If it has to be paid off, and a psychic healer comes who is doing mental healing, sub-astral healing, astral healing, laying of hands, Reiki, all these things that involve the mind, then what happens? Then they're either going to take the payment of that huge karma onto themselves. And that's why Ishwarji said that most healers that he has met are all sick. They are all sick and suffering. Why? Because somebody has to pay for the karma. And if we want to heal somebody, then we're going to have to transfer that karma, that account, to ourselves, because somebody has to pay for it. Or it can be postponed. Some healers postpone that karma. So what happens if you keep a can of garbage in your house and you don't throw it out the day you are supposed to throw it out? If you throw it out after 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it's going to smell horrible. It's going to smell horrible and become just more and more and more. And that's why the masters say, go through your karma and pay it off directly. Why postpone it? And then it will become more, it will bear interest, and it will just like the garbage that I have described. So that's why saints and masters say, this is not uh, this is not recommended. All psychic healing using the chakras, mental healing by trying to move stuff in the body, sub-astral healing, and anything that has to do with changing the karma, laying on hands, that all has to be paid for. It will be paid for by the psychic healer himself, or it will be postponed. But there is another thing, another type of healing that Ishwarji taught us, and that is healing with love. Healing with love is different, is totally different. When a person becomes pure soul, when he transcends the mental regions, when he transcends the time and space and becomes pure soul, then his radiation, then there is a radiation of every person who reaches those altitudes of soul. And that radiation of love, love, what is what is the definition of love? Love is just soothing. Love is healing. Love is just all the attributes of God. Love is i- love is health. Love is everything that is opposite of the mind is love. So those people like Saint Kirpal going to the hospital, his radiation healed the people. He healed the people just by being there. And my master Santakar Singh used to say that when we grow in God, when we grow in love, when we transcend the mind, body, and intellect and become pure soul, it's a different life. Then whatever we look at, we will be transmitting the love of God to that person, and that person will feel good. That person will even my master was saying that everything will be nourished. We will be sitting next to a tree, the tree will be nourished, or animals, all trees, and everything from the creation of Lord God that is around us will be in that atmosphere of love, in that radiation of love. And that radiation of love grows as we grow in God. As we grow in God, the radiation, the power of God, the force of love increases in us. And that force is soothing, that force is healing, and the saints and masters who have reached that soul level and even more, where they have merged into totality, then God in them is working. God in them is working. God in them can change the karmas. God in them can annihilate the karmas, can change the karmas, and can pay for the karmas. Can pay for the karmas from the reservoir, the unlimited, the limitless reservoir and the treasures of God and the kingdom of God. When somebody merges with God and becomes like Ishwarji, then they look at somebody, then that God in them can heal that person, can change. They have the authority. How about this? They have the authority to change karma. Yet anybody who is still on the mental level that is trying to heal is like somebody who is using something from his own bank account. They exert. Saint Kirpal calls it exertion. They exert some force. They exert some force, then they get depleted. They get depleted, and they are sick themselves. Even people who are psychiatrists who are trying to heal on the mental level, they get depressed, and they have the highest rate of suicide, Ishwarji said, because they are trying to heal people, and they concentrate on the patient. They concentrate on the patient with no protection of God in them. And then when they concentrate, what you think, so shall you become. You are putting all your attention on somebody who is depressed and who is in misery. And then what happens? You take on that misery and that depression on yourself because you don't have the protection of God, the protection of soul, master behind you. Then what happens? You take that upon yourself, and that's why they're having the highest rate of suicide. Yet we can, if we want to heal somebody, if our job is a healer, a lot of healers also came to Ishwarji, and that's their profession, that's their job. And they asked him for recommendation. Uh, what, what should we do? And he said, try it this way. Don't put your ego that you are healing the person. Just say that don't use I. Just say my higher self, God in me, will heal you with compassion and love. God in me will heal you with compassion and love. And that's how the burden of karma doesn't go on the I. Because if we use our own ego, then that burden is going to come on us. But Ishwarji said that if we just use love and compassion to transmit to those people who if our job was healers, then we will see the difference. And then they called him and they told him about the big difference, how it changed their life to use that technique of not I, but God in me sends compassion and love towards you. So this is what I hope that answered the questions, the question. And regarding miracles, the masters do not perform miracles. They do not perform miracles. Why? Why don't they perform miracles? Because then all the worldly people that are not ready for God, they're not ready for the kingdom of God, the unseekers will run after them. And the masters, they're only looking for seekers of truth. So what happens? Then they start to perform miracles indirectly. Then they say that the master doesn't, the perfect masters don't do miracles, but miracles are all around them. All around them are miracles. And then what happens? Their initiates will start to see miracles in their life on daily basis. From the first day of initiation, if we become receptive to the master power, we're gonna see the hand of master in our life doing miracles at every second. I remember when I first got initiated by Sant Singh, and I decided to become to do seva, and I went and I bought a big picture of Sant Singh, and I wanted to put it in a carton that fits it, and I remember because it was going to be used for seva. I was trying, to become an like one of his Savadars, to do talks and stuff like that. So I wanted to take the picture from one place to the other. I didn't want it to get damaged. I wanted to be put in a nice carton. So what happened that day? I just left my apartment. I was in a 40-story building, and I went to the chute to throw my garbage. And guess what? Right there, and then there was like a carton this thick, exactly the size of the picture, and that would fit Santakar's picture perfectly. And I used that, and I think I still have it in my storage. But that was like one of the first miracles that happened. But we will start to see miracles and miracles and miracles, unlimited, endless miracles, when we become conscious co-workers of the divine plan. To become conscious co-workers of the divine plan, it's a miracle by itself. It's a miracle by itself, and it will give birth to so many miracles, so many miracles, so many miracles. Just like a seed of a fruit tree becomes a tree and then starts to give hundreds of fruits or thousands of fruits over its lifetime, the same thing. The miracle of becoming a conscious co-worker, the miracle of becoming an initiate of the perfect master will produce daily miracles. We will start to see this daily miracles. Become receptive to the master power and see the miracles in your life happen on daily basis, and enjoy these miracles. Enjoy these miracles, and these miracles will fortify us with trust and faith. They will fortify us with trust and faith. Because why? Because not only trust and faith happens from inside when we meditate and experience the holy light and the holy sound and start to see suns, moons, and stars and all these things that are inside, but when our daily life from the outside also fortifies us with trust and with faith. So as both inside and outside are so related and so connected, that once we start to see the holy light and sound, or just meditate on the Shabd and doing Simran inside of us, that would translate on our outer life, and our outer life will become big miracles that we will be fortified with inner experiences and fortified by outer experiences. As the time goes by, our faith and our trust in the master power will become unshakable. Nothing in this world will shake the trust and the faith in the master power. Even if people will try to badmouth your master, say your master has done this, has done that, you will be fortified by your inner master. You will see the inner master, which is a reflection of the outer master. And once we see the inner master inside of us, then that will put an end to all the mental attacks, on us that try to take us out of this path. Why? Because we have seen inside our master. Once we start to see inside our master, then that's it. That trust and faith becomes a big foundation of our life. Let me read just a couple of poems from Sultan Bahu that will just ignite our holy fire, our daily holy fire for God. These godly poems from godly people God men and God women who came and touched the face of this earth. They just add fuel to our godly love. They add the fuel, they add the manna of life, they add the water of life, they inspire us, they keep us going on this path, and we will swim in the love. We will swim in the love. Okay, when the first point, when at the time of creation God separated me from himself, I heard him say, "Am I not your God?" "Indeed you are," cried my soul, reassured. Since then has my heart flowered with the inner urge to return home. Since then has my heart flowered with the inner urge to return home, giving me not a moment of calm here on earth. May doom strike this world. It robs souls on their way to God. The world has never accepted his lovers. They are persecuted and left to cry in pain. That is why we face the other current in this life. We have to be stern. We have to be stern. All the lovers of God will face the other force that is going in the different direction. We are going against the current of the river of this world. And that is being brave. Being brave not to be swept by the current of the river, but to stand in the river and keep walking step by step, by holding master hand. If we hold master hand, we will not be swept. Once we take hold of master hand, we might be swept in that river. And who knows, it will be time of suffering without master in our life. It will be a time of suffering that we will learn from the suffering and then come back to master. But yes, his lovers are never accepted in this world. You should see how much frustration I faced in the beginning of this path from all my family. Even they were trying to put meat in my mouth, I remember my uncle, against my will. This is how it is. This is how it is. And it was just like, oh my God, how much the current of this world tries to force us the other way. And so many people are swept out in this current. And then they have to be reborn and come again and meet the next master of the time. So yes, to be brave is to be swept. Only the mind that works in cooperation with my spirit can be my friend. Only the person who has to be tamed, only the person who has so tamed his mind can realize the name of God. This same mind forces the abstinent and the devout to grovel before greed and temptation. Though is the path of God, O Bahu, it is not a bowl of your mother's pudding. That's what I was saying. It's not a bowl of your mother's pudding, this path, because there is so much that we have to face, but facing it with master is the blessing. Like whenever those problems come to us, whenever those people come that try to take us the other path, we just hold the hand of master harder, and just keep him in our presence, and then that situation will be solved by master according to his will for our favor. Oh, let's see another poem. I have at last grasped the beginning and the end. I have seen the whole spectacle of past, present, and future. Pass before my eyes. Within my heart are 14 realms, chambers of light ablaze with the profession of God's radiance. Those who have not realized God will wander, homeless in this world, destitute in the next. Wow. Those who have not realized God will wander, homeless in this world, destitute in the next. But watch the lovers dance with ecstasy, and they merge into the oneness of God. But watch the lovers dance with ecstasy as they merge into the oneness of God. Whoa, that poem is getting me high on God. Who is within? Who is without? Who always reverberates in my heart? The wound in my heart etches constantly with the unbating pain of whose love the darkness of ignorance departs. From the heart lit by who? I sacrifice myself to the one, O Bahu, who has realized the significance of who. Who is one of the words of God in the Sufi literature. H-U, who. Ana who, ana who. That's one of the Simran in Arabic. Ana who. Accursed is life in this world. Twice accursed are they who are attached to it. Those who have not dedicated their lives to God shall suffer the unrelenting blows of destiny. Abominable is this sly world. It can even prompt a father to kill his own son. Those who have renounced this world will enjoy the delights of the garden that is eternally in bloom. All right. Oh, may this garden, may we all enjoy this garden of God and this garden of love and be all together merged in His oneness.
Though I travel far and wide, yet your love was still waiting for me, for me. As far as the eye could see, your love looks back at me.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, friends, to this meditation workshop. We'll be experimenting with several small exercises which help us in achieving the goal of meditation, which is to discover ourselves, our true self. The goal of all meditation is to find out who we really are and why we are here. You might have noticed that they put a rocking chair for me. I know there's a trick chair. This is a trick chair because in one of the earlier meditation sessions, when I was talking to the group about meditation, I was saying that during meditation, the tendency to sleep is very strong. And therefore, a lot of time people go to sleep while they are meditating because the tendency for the attention to drop from the wakeful state at the eye level to the sleep state at the throat level is very strong. We sleep every night, therefore that tendency is automatic in us. During that meditation workshop, many of you were probably here. When I closed my eyes to lead the meditation group, after a while, I found that I was snoring myself. And when I opened my eyes, everybody was staring at me like that. So they all enjoyed my snoring during meditation. And this is a trick chair to see if I do it again. Because they believe that if I rock, I might sleep faster. I am told that the subject for my talk this morning, before we go into the meditation sessions later in the day, is the art of healing, the healing arts that people are practicing. This is an important subject because so many people have asked me whether the different ways of healing that people are employing are consistent with the spiritual path. Should people who are following the spiritual path actually practice healing? Does it interfere with their spiritual progress? Is it proper for them to do it? So I thought it's a good time for me to make a few comments on the healing arts that exist and their effect on the spiritual path. As you know, the healing is of many kinds. There is physical healing, there is sub-astral healing, there is astral healing, there is mental healing, and there is spiritual healing. People practice different kinds of healing. The physical healing is practiced by all the doctors, modern doctors, who diagnose what the disease is and prescribe a drug which should counteract that disease. Most of these systems of modern medicine, of healing, are called the allopathic system of healing. The word allopathic is derived from the Greek origin, which means allopathos, that means changing of the pathos, changing of the state of being. If you are sick, give something that should counter it. If you are having a fever, give or inflammation, give an antibiotic which should reduce the fever. It's like opposing the force of the disease by healing with the opposite force. So it's called allopathy. There is also a practice called homeopathy. Homeopathy means creating a similar pathos. Homeopathos. That means similar cure similar. The founder of that system, Samuel Hahnemann, lived a couple of 100 years ago in Germany, and he founded the system based on the principle similia similibus curantur. That means similar will cure similar. And it's not that the opposite will cure. Opposite will give you relief. But for cure, he thought you have to have a similar thing. That means if the disease creates certain symptoms on your body, give something that would create similar symptoms in a healthy body. And when the disease expresses itself in the language of symptoms, you can read the language of the symptoms, and that is the language of the disease, and not the kind of diagnosis that the allopaths make. So homeopathic system became quite prominent at one time, and it's coming back into being again. It's coming into popularity again, and is based on this principle that whatever illness can be caused artificially in a healthy body by giving any kind of substance, the same substance in a very diluted form will be able to cure the same disease. And that is very popular in some countries, especially in Germany, in France, in India, and now coming back into the United States. There are other systems which are also well known. The Ayurvedic system is one of the oldest systems, started from the Vedic times and is traced back to history of 6,000 or 7,000 years. And there are some prescriptions written down in old literature which are supposed to be several thousand years old and are still being used by the practitioners of Ayurveda today. A similar system was started in Greece called the Unani system. These two systems of healing employ what they call the three different doshas, the three different aspects in which the body survives, and that three doshas they consider are pitta, which is the hot dosha, and there is kapha, which is the phlegm in us, and then there is the vata, which is the air. They think that with these three doshas we can diagnose anything. They depend very heavily, these two systems of healing, the Ayurvedic system and the Unani system, they employ the diagnosis by reading the pulse of a person. Practitioners still today are employing the system by which they can see the wrist of a person and put their fingers, 3 fingers they put on the wrist at an appropriate place just below the wrist, and the 3 doshas are read immediately by the 3 fingers. And you can see where the pulse beats. You will notice that the pulse beat is different at the 3 different positions. And on that basis they can diagnose, and the treatment is based upon a diagnosis of that kind. The Ayurvedic system is using more of the basams, that means oxidized materials of metals, minerals, and so on, which have been proven to relieve different kind of illnesses. So it's a popular system in the East. The Unani system relies upon more of what they call the syrups and the cold drinks, because it was in a hot area, and they thought that all medicine should be given in the form of nice cold drinks or in the kind of kushtas. That means you make a preparation, concoctions of pastes of different kinds. So there's little difference in the type of material they use in the healing. All these systems employ the physical body, analysis of the physical body, reading the pulse of the physical body, taking vital signs of the vital body parts, and then prescribing a treatment. This is all healing by the physical methods of the physical body. Then comes the sub-astral healing, sometimes called the psychological healing, psychic healing, and those include several kinds of healing methods, Reiki being very popular here, where you have 2 kinds of hands on and hands near the body. You can touch the body, give certain kind of massages, and that heals the body, or you can pass your hand with your energies over the body, because these types of healing involve the energies. Most of the time, the energy of the healer is being used to cure, and in many cases, the disease affects the healer. I once attended a conference in the Spiritual Frontiers Fellowship, and they thought I was a healer, and therefore they put me in a group of healers, about 20 healers who are practicing Reiki and other kinds of healing systems. And I must tell you, all those 20 were sick themselves. So one of the first principles of healing is heal thyself. If you are sick, and I questioned them, I said, look, if you are healing other people, you are sick yourself, what standard do you set for other people? You must be first healing yourself. If you can't heal yourself, how do you heal others? In later discussions, we discovered that many of them were suffering from the same diseases they were trying to cure. Based on the law of karma, it appears that when you heal through sub-astral energies, you take on the karma of the person you are healing. And therefore, it's not advisable to do that kind of healing which transfers the karma. It's not easy to transfer karma of one person to another, but those methods of healing very often transfer, and the healers themselves become sick. And therefore, it's not a very good system, and although it's practiced widely, it interferes with the spiritual progress of any person who is on a spiritual path. These sub-astral healings are then followed by the astral healings, which is through sense perceptions only. So those involve a lot of suggestive powers, psychological suggestions, psychiatric treatments, and so on, where the power of suggestion is used to heal. There also, the danger is that in dealing with the patient who you are trying to heal, you are picking up some of the karma of that patient. That is why the suicide rate amongst the psychiatrists is the highest amongst all group of people in the country. Those who are trying to cure other people of their mental illnesses themselves get so depressed that they can't survive, because as they heal through psychological and psychiatric methods, they get those same symptoms themselves. These are also not very good for practice of the spiritual path. Then there's the mental healing, which of course is, they use mental kindnesses, mental power of moving things, and so they use the power to move things in the body. And those also hurt the mind of the person who's trying to practice these. These kinds of healings have all these deleterious effects on the healer. But there is a healing called spiritual healing, which is healing with love. Healing with love is a spiritual thing because your soul is involved and neither your mind, nor your senses, nor your body is involved. Prayer from the spirit very often helps in healing. We have seen so many cases where prayer from the spirit healed somebody. That does not cause any harm to the one who is healing and helps the person who is being healed. Does not transfer karma but lightens the karma of that person because the healing is taking place from the spirit which is beyond the karma. Our spiritual self is not bound by karma. It lies in Par-Brahm, beyond Trikuti, beyond the domain of the mind and domain of karma. When we talk of the law of karma, it only operates from the mental level of our mind. All karma is stored on the mind, is played out from there. Therefore, the healing that is done from any part of the consciousness that is beyond the mind does not cause any deleterious effect. Indeed, very often, it helps you to be compassionate with people and use your compassion and love for people. Pray for them with love, coming from your, what they call heart, which is actually the spirit. And that is a good way of helping people. I have suggested to many healers who are practicing healing through the energies to shift to healing with love. It has benefited them a lot. And their own health has improved as well as the health of those who they tried to heal. So these healing arts, there are so many kinds of them, and they, as I mentioned to you, some of them do interfere with our spiritual growth, and some of them do not. So those that do not interfere are those where we do not transfer any of the karma to ourselves. Because when karma is transferred, it creates an additional burden for us. We already are all overladen with karma. Now, one word about karma I should mention, because all sickness and disease is a result of karma. It's our own actions of the past that causes these things to happen. Nobody has inflicted those on us. We have inflicted them upon ourselves. We do not remember them, and therefore we sometimes wonder how it is unfair for so many people to be born healthy, lead healthy lives, and so many people spending so much of their time in hospitals and dying there. But it's all their own karma, not somebody else's. The law of karma explains these events better than any other theory that we have found so far. There is no way to say that if God has created all of us as equal children, why should there be so much difference? Some are born poor, some are born rich, some are in good state of health, some are not in a good state of health. What causes all this difference? Surely the Creator who loves all creation could not have made that difference. It is part of a lower story at the lower level of our own minds, where we have created these actions. Incidentally, karma is not created by a physical action. Karma is created by a mental action. That means if you think of something in your mind, karma is created right there. Even if you don't translate it into physical action, the karma is still there. Therefore, if you look at your own minds, the karmic condition into which we are now situated makes us go through the karma because we have identified ourselves with the mind. We have identified ourselves with the sensory system. We have identified ourselves with the body. And that is why what the mind plays out becomes our experience. And therefore we feel the sickness, disease that comes to us because we are associating ourselves so closely with the mind. The mind and our soul are so closely locked in together that it's very difficult even to distinguish between the two. It takes quite a while and meditational practice to know that we were never the mind. Mind was just a machine given to us to use. It's a thinking machine, and it is placed next to us, and we power it with our consciousness and our soul, and it functions. But the mind alone contains all the karma. The so-called Akashic records or Akashic records, which you refer to often, are all stored in the mind. There is nothing stored in our soul. Our soul is beyond karma, is pure consciousness, and is not carrying any of this thing. But when we identify ourselves with our minds and our bodies, we go through this whole process, and that is why we suffer. And the karma is our own creation through our own mind, through mental action. Now, if we try to wipe out karma, if we think that by healing you wipe out karma, you do not wipe out karma. You transfer karma, you postpone karma. It is only postponed, it is not healed in a way, it is not gone away, it doesn't go anywhere. The only way for karma to be destroyed is to do meditation of the soul, of the spirit, which can burn karma. That is why perfect living masters who have come here and give us the beautiful gift of initiation, of which I have not come across any equivalent gift in this world. It's the best gift one can get. That gift includes the burning down or the complete elimination of all the previous karma, and the only karma you go through is that which is of this current life. It's a very big advantage to have all the old karma gone away, so that even if you have to live again, even if you have to have a second life, it is based only on the karma of one life, which is this present life. That's a very big advantage. But the karma plays out in several ways. It can play out in the physical disease, in physical happiness, in physical winning a lottery, in getting a promotion, winning something. It can be both positive and negative. And that karma goes through in our physical life. It can also be in mental life. It can also be in our emotional life. We can be emotionally so upset, and it's a past karma that we are paying. It does not have to be a physical karma. Then it can be so mental that you are mentally unstable, you are mentally sad, depressed. That also is past karma. But there is no karma relating to the spirit which performs its own functions independently. The functions of the mind is to think, to rationalize, to make sense of the sense perceptions, to articulate, to speak, to write, to communicate. These are all functions of the mind. And these functions are affected by karma. But the functions of the soul, which are love, beauty, joy, intuition, intuitive knowledge, they are not affected by karma at all. And that is why those who live in the spirit live a life of love and beauty and joy, and all their actions are based upon intuitive knowledge. They do not incur any karma. In fact, they are living beyond karma. And when a master initiates us, when a perfect living master initiates us, he does not do so from any mental level. He does it from the spiritual level. And since he does it from the spiritual level, he has that power to wipe out the karma that we are holding. In case of very severe karma that's not based upon previous lives, but is being gone through in this particular life. If it is very unbearable and we pray to our master, he relieves us even in that case and gives us relief. So the master's work is done entirely from above the mind, from the spirit, and therefore it's a spiritual healing that we get from the master. We can also practice the same thing, spiritual healing. In fact, if we practice our meditation regularly, properly, and attain a state where we can find out who we are, that means attain a state above the mind, which we can all attain. It's a question of practice. If we attain that state, we will ourselves be just like the masters. And our healing touch for other people will be operating from there, and we'll be doing exactly what masters can do. In fact, these people who go beyond the mind, we call them gurmukhs. To distinguish them from those who are not gone there, we call them manmukhs. Manmukh means one who follows his mind, and gurmukh means one who follows his guru or the master. And the one who follows the master or the Gurmukh has the same status as the master. The only difference between a Gurmukh and the master is the master does additional work of initiating other people and the Gurmukh does not. Otherwise, there is not much difference between the two. So anybody can attain that status of the same status in spirituality as a master. In fact, the master comes here not to make you better people. He does not come here to make you wiser people. He comes here to make you exactly like himself. That's his job. They refer to the master as the philosopher's stone. The philosopher's stone is supposed to touch base metal and make it into gold. And they say the difference between a philosopher's stone and the master is the philosopher's stone turns base metal into gold, whereas a master turns a base metal into the philosopher's stone itself. So that they can become like the same. They have the same experiences which a master has. So this is a great opportunity for practice of higher meditation. And they call it higher meditation because it's a meditation that goes higher than the mind. That's the only reason why I call it higher meditation. Otherwise, to come to think of it, there's nothing high or low about it. When we classify these things and we put them in a certain order, the tendency is to make them low and high. Actually, the actual situation of the different levels of consciousness is not designed that way. It is not designed to be one above the other. It is designed to be one inside the other. So it's like peeling off an onion and you come to the inner part of the onion. It's like that. You peel off your awareness of the outer body and you keep on going further and further into an awareness of your own true self. So that is why the master's way of healing or a Gurmukh's way of healing is spiritual and does not cause any harm. Indeed, it is a help on the spiritual path. So I refer to all these methods of healing so that you should be cautious that when you are practicing healing of various kinds, some of them which involve the energies in your body can bounce back and give you the same karmic symptoms that are thought to be cured by your healing process. On the other hand, if your healing involves only your love and compassion and comes from the heart or the spirit and not from your mind, not from the energies, then that's a help to the person you are healing and also help to yourself. So make a distinction. Also, I have advised many people who are practicing healing of different kinds that they need not change the style of their healing, they only change the intent of their healing. That means instead of saying, I use my energy to heal you, they say, I use my compassion and love to heal you. And therefore, their internal consciousness, which switches from using energy to heal, switches to using love and compassion to heal. And outwardly, there need not be much change. And that has worked well also. In many cases, I get reports back from the healers how much their life has changed because of the switch from healing with energy to healing with love and compassion. So I thought you would be interested in these differences. If you agree, we can start the meditation session now. How many of you are ready for it? How many of you are not ready for it? No, you came for the meditation workshop, I believe you are ready. In these 2 days of the meditation workshop, I plan to do some exercises which I often do as a means of preparing ourselves for meditation. These are preparatory exercises and they are not real meditation. When we come to real meditation, I'll let you know it's only a preparation. The first exercise which I find very popular is called the orange juice experiment. How many of you have done that before? Orange juice experiment. How many of you have never done it? Oh, quite a few. Okay, you'll enjoy it, I hope. In the orange juice experiment, we imagine that our body is made of glass and it's hollow inside. Only the outer structure of the body is there and it's made of glass, transparent glass, and inside is hollow. And by imagination, we fill up the body with orange juice. Once it's filled up to the top of the head, then we discover that there are some valves attached to our fingers on the hands and to the toes of our feet. When you press those fingers, the orange juice escapes from there. And so we are able to vacate the orange juice from our body at will by just pressing our fingers. Or later on, when the juice goes down, by putting pressure on the toes. So this is an experiment really designed to show how our attention can be made to move anywhere on the body. This is the main intention of the exercise, to begin to have control over your own attention, because we will be using the same process later on for meditation. So please close your eyes, sit upright, and imagine that your body is now made of glass. If you move too much, it will crack. You can't afford that. So therefore, no movement during this exercise. Whatever position you adopt now, make sure you can hold on to it for a few minutes. And with your imagination, fill up this body with orange juice, starting from the feet all the way up, and leave no part unfilled. And make sure, check it over and over again till you are sure the entire body is filled up with orange juice, right to the top of the head. With your attention, scan the whole body, that from your feet to the head is completely filled up with orange juice, which you can see clearly. Now very gently press the fingers of your hands to allow the orange juice to escape very slowly. Orange juice should be allowed to drip out, drop by drop, and watch its level in the head. When the level drops to the eye level, stop. Hold there. Very slowly, not too fast. Drop by drop, let the orange juice come out from your fingers. And as the fingers are releasing the orange juice, the level is dropping from the head. When it comes to the eye level, exactly behind the eyes, stop. Slowly. Hold at the eye level. No more dripping. Hold. Relax your hands. No more pressure on the fingertips. Hold at the eye level and see the surface of the orange juice behind the eyes. See that you can see the orange juice having a surface just behind the eyes, and the top of the head is now empty. There's nothing in the top of the head. Now press the fingers again, allow the orange juice to drop through the fingers till you reach the level of the tip of the nose. When you reach that level, stop and hold there. Slowly. Now look back and see that the top of the head, right even behind the eyes, is all empty. The level of the orange juice has gone down to the level of the nose, tip of the nose. Very gently press your fingers again. Allow the orange juice to drop to the level of your lips and your mouth. When it reaches there, stop. Now very gently press your fingers again. Allow the orange juice to come down to the level of your throat. When it reaches the throat level, hold it there. And look back and see that the whole of the head is empty. Hold at the throat level. Now press your fingers again gently and allow the orange juice to come down to the heart level. And you will see that the orange juice is escaping from the arms also. Shake your right arm and let all the orange juice escape from the right arm. Now shake your left arm. Let all the orange juice go down from the left arm. Check both arms are now empty. Hold at the heart level. Now press the toes of your feet to release the orange juice from the feet now, because there is no juice in the hands or the arms anymore. So you have to use the feet now. Press the toes of the feet. Allow the orange juice to come down to the level of your navel, middle of your belly, and hold it there. Now press the toes of the feet again and allow the orange juice to go down to the bottom of your torso and completely evacuate the whole of the torso, and see that the orange juice is only left in the legs. Now press the toes of your right foot only and allow the orange juice to flow out from the right leg till the right leg is completely empty. You can shake it a little to see it's completely empty. Now press the toes of the left leg and allow the orange juice to flow. You can press hard, let the whole orange juice flow out, and make sure, shake the left leg, that there is no orange juice in the left leg. Scan the whole body and see from head to foot there is no orange juice. If you find orange juice sticking anywhere, shake that part of the body slightly so it is released, and you press the fingers and the toes to make sure all the orange juice has gone out of the body and the body is clean and empty. Keep your eyes closed till I count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes and welcome back to the workshop. How many of you were able to do this successfully, as I went on saying? How many were unable to do it?
Halfway.
Halfway? Okay, next time we'll make it full way. Now you must have seen what was the purpose of doing this exercise. The purpose was that your attention was drawn to different parts of your body. And as you took the orange juice to those levels, your attention went there. This is a very significant thing, that the whole of the meditational practice, which gives you experience all the way to your real self, is based upon the use of your attention. And if you practice this, where to keep your attention, especially in the body, it will help you very greatly in the meditation practice. You might also have noticed, some of you might have noticed, that the orange juice stuck to some parts of the body more than other parts and were more difficult to get rid of it. How many had that experience? You will notice that the parts where the orange juice was stuck is generally the part of your body, of your anatomy, where there is some problem. This is also a way of self-diagnosis of what part of your body has a problem. Let's try today meditation behind the eyes with love and devotion, where you visualize your beloved and you express your love to the beloved in the best way you can and see the results of it. Please assume that your body is your house and you are sitting on the 6th floor of that house behind the eyes. First, establish yourself in the meditation chamber behind the eyes, then visualize your beloved, then start any kind of meditation you want, including Simran, listening to the sound, or conversation with the Master.